The Red-Headed League is the second story in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, first published in 1892. The story begins with Dr. Watson recounting how a peculiar case came to the attention of Sherlock Holmes. One day, a man named Jabez Wilson, a pawnbroker, visits Holmes' office. He is a portly, red-headed man who looks distressed and eager to explain his unusual situation. He tells Holmes that he has been invited to join a strange organization called the Red-Headed League, which offers him a generous salary for very little work. Wilson had been selected for the league based on his bright red hair, and his task involved copying out the Encyclopedia Britannica. Wilson explains that he was initially overjoyed by the opportunity, as it seemed like an easy and lucrative job. He was instructed to work in a room at a place called the Red-Headed League office, located in a part of London not far from his own shop. His task was to copy out the Encyclopedia Britannica, and for doing so, he would receive a salary of £4 a week. Wilson, a hard-working man, found the work monotonous but appreciated the money and the fact that it was a secure job. However, after a while, Wilson found that he had been abruptly dismissed without explanation. The league, he was told, was being dissolved, and he was left without any further information or compensation. This strange turn of events troubled Wilson, and he came to Holmes seeking help to understand why he was hired and then dismissed so suddenly, and why the league had dissolved so mysteriously. Holmes listens to Wilson's account and finds the situation puzzling. He begins by investigating the circumstances surrounding the Red-Headed League. Holmes's sharp mind immediately notices that something about the story doesn't add up. For one, the idea of a league specifically for red-headed men seems absurd and unlikely. Holmes concludes that there must be something more to this organization, and that it is not as innocent as it appears. Holmes decides to visit Wilson's shop to gather more information. There, he quickly observes various details that seem to suggest a deeper mystery. Holmes notes that the location of Wilson's shop, near the Red-Headed League's office, is peculiar, and he asks Watson to accompany him as he investigates further. Holmes's keen powers of observation allow him to piece together the strange elements of the case. He deduces that the Red-Headed League was a front for something entirely different, something more sinister. Holmes then develops a theory about what is really happening. He concludes that the league was a ruse to get Wilson out of his shop every day, as the building where the league office was located had a direct connection to the vaults of a nearby bank. Wilson's shop, being in such close proximity to the bank, made it an ideal location for the criminals behind the league to tunnel into the bank's vaults. The Red-Headed League was merely a clever way to get Wilson out of his shop and away from the premises for hours at a time, allowing the criminals to work undisturbed. With this theory in mind, Holmes sets a trap for the criminals. He tells Wilson to return to his shop and to continue his normal routine while Holmes and Watson wait nearby. Sure enough, Holmes's deductions are correct. Late that night, Holmes and Watson hide in Wilson's shop and wait for the criminals to strike. They are soon rewarded when a man named John Clay, a well-known criminal, emerges from the floor and begins to dig a tunnel into the bank's vaults. Holmes and Watson confront the criminal, and a dramatic chase ensues. However, the police arrive just in time to capture the criminals, and the plot to rob the bank is foiled. Holmes explains the case to Watson, revealing how the Red-Headed League was actually a diversion designed to keep Wilson out of his shop while the criminals worked on their tunnel. Holmes's ability to see through the elaborate ruse and understand the criminals' true intentions demonstrates his unparalleled skill in deduction and problem-solving. In the end, the case is solved, and the criminals are apprehended. Wilson is left with an explanation for the bizarre events, and he is grateful for Holmes's help in solving the mystery. The story highlights Holmes's extraordinary powers of observation and deduction, as well as his ability to uncover the hidden motives behind seemingly innocent events. While the Red-Headed League was an absurd idea on its own, Holmes's investigation reveals the much more dangerous plot behind it, showing how an apparent trivial mystery can be the cover for something far more serious. The story of The Red-Headed League is an excellent example of Conan Doyle's skill in creating engaging and cleverly constructed mysteries. It showcases Holmes's exceptional abilities to notice the smallest details and draw connections that others might miss. It also plays with the idea of seemingly ridiculous or implausible scenarios being the cover for far more serious criminal activity, a theme that runs through many of the Sherlock Holmes stories. Ultimately, it is a classic example of Holmes's brilliance in solving puzzles that seem baffling at first, but are resolved through careful analysis and logical reasoning.